This is the Night Wolf howling at you. And today we're going to look at the G.I. Joe Night Force Jason Shockwave, Jason Shockwave Faria, and Night Pursuit. And I know I am butchering that name, and I am sorry. This was a Walmart exclusive. This box got left out in the rain, apparently, somewhere along the line, because when it was delivered, it was not in the rain. And I'm thinking that unless somebody has returned one to Walmart, you're probably not going to see it in the stores. Because a lot of the Walmart exclusives do not end up showing up in store at all. Like I still haven't saw the what is it, Night Trooper? Not the Night Creeper, the scary looking skull headed version. Trooper. Oh my god, I cannot remember the name. Still a lot of the G.I. Joe classified exclusives for Walmart do not end up in the store. That's all I'm trying to say. On the side, we get a good picture of him. On the back, we just see renders with him on his motorcycle with just some highlighted spots, including the patch on his shoulder. Anyway, let's go ahead and open this up. So aside from the water damage here, kind of, this actually would be nice as a backdrop for your display. I'm not gonna lie, that packaging kind of makes me miss the windowless packaging where everything was just tied down with straps on a piece of cardboard. So here's something to note. They did not pin the wheel on the sidecar part to the actual plastic. You know, I have the Tiger Force version here as a sample to compare later. But they do have a pin on that one. So, God, that is like the biggest cheap out ever. Like I've been giving Hasbro recently with some of the stuff with them not pinning stuff in place that probably should be pinned in place. And this thing came off, you know, while I was taking it out. Ugh. Ah, that's not in there very well either. But seriously, out of all the things that they cheaped out on, not putting the pin for the wheel on here, that is the dumbest freaking thing. But while we're talking about some of this stuff, we have the machine gun that comes on here. It comes with the little barrel thing, like when we got the Amazon exclusive roadblock. So you can just throw that in there so he can hold it and shoot. But you do have to take that off if you put it inside of the sidecar. And unfortunately, there's no place on the sidecar to attach it, which is kind of a shame. Out of all the things that they did, well, okay, I think I said that a few times already. But, if they were going to come up with this idea in the first place, I think they should have gone ahead and just put like a slice on the side of this. Where you could have just slid that in over here and just had it on there also. Yeah, sure, it's not going to fully replicate the original RAM cycle from the vintage line, but that's okay because you're still working in the extra equipment. Speaking of equipment, once again, we are left with no instructions on how anything is supposed to attach. But let's go ahead. First off, we've got his little drone. This came with the original release, which is in blue, which was also Walmart exclusive. He's got a backpack, extra long. Inside the backpack, presumably this is the controller for the drone. Although it doesn't look as nice. Honestly, it does not look as nice as the one that came with scrap iron. And the drone can actually... So you got those two slices there. You can fit the drone's feet in those two slices in the backpack. I mean, presumably, you see these two little bars here should slide into these little areas there, it looks like. I just don't know. It might be a little bit malformed there, so not perfect. I'm not sure what the supposed to attach to that bottom thing, but then I don't think this guy is coming with the same loadout he had in his original figure release, so that's probably an issue. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at Shockwave here. Codename Shockwave, SWAT Specialist. File name Faria Jason A. SN 369-0905-SW34. Primary military specialty, special weapons and tactics. Secondary military specialty, choir. Okay, I was not expecting choir to be a military specialty, period. Birthplace, Dearborn, Michigan. Grade E4. Shockwave was the youngest member of the Detroit Police Department SWAT team and the holder of 2 citations for bravery when he signed up for and was accepted by the Joe team. When asked why he left a promising career to work longer hours for less money, kicking down doors on better armed adversaries, Shockwave replied, "What, you think I do this for the money?" Everybody on a SWAT team has a specific job, like in a choir. Choirs have tenors, baritones, altos, etc. SWAT teams have sharpshooters, climbers, and inside men. Shockwave is the door kicker. He's the first inside and the first to find out how bad it really is. He's also a half-decent tenor when his voice is in shape. Dude, if he's only half-decent but his specialty is choir, that doesn't sound quite right to me. I'm not gonna lie, I did not realize that this character was actually a G.I. Joe figure from the vintage line. I thought he was made up for Classified when they first released him, and I thought it was partially just maybe to keep the copyright on the name Shockwave with Transformers. But he does have like 3 figure variations, I think, in the vintage line. One of those, by the way, is a maskless figure, which goes back to that whole thing where I keep saying a named figure should come with an extra head without the mask on. And this is a good example. This character actually did have a maskless figure back in the 80s or 90s at that point, maybe. Well, let's go ahead and gear him out here, shall we? We have a knife. Gunmetal gray on the end. black plastic on the handle. Easily slide in the holster on his chest piece. We got another knife. It looks like it's some sort of like multi-purpose one. If anybody has, I've never seen a knife look like this. So if anybody has, can you let me know exactly what all the functions are here? We got a serrated area, which can be used for cutting wood. Honestly, this tip here reminds me of a seatbelt cutter like you'd have in case of an emergency in your car. But we can slide that on the little calf sheath. We have a fairly standard G.I. Joe pistol. Fit that in the thigh. We can fit that in the thigh sheath. You ever notice I'm always very specific when I try to say that word? It's because I have problems saying it. And don't even get me started on trying to say the type of plant that Eeyore likes to eat. That was like 20 minutes of people laughing at me. Anyway, we have just a cap, military cap for him. It just kind of sits on his head. It doesn't really stick very well. I don't know if it did on the original release figure or not, well, the original classified release or not. He's also got digital camouflage, by the way. And, you know, they're using that gold. It still makes me miss the bright day glow orange that they used on the original toys. I'm also not 100% sure. I don't think there was an actual RAM cycle variation in the original Night Force collection. So this would be a new vehicle, just them reusing it. So I wonder if they'll do that with the ATV also, if we'll get a Night Force ATV. We have a rifle. It's got a drop-down secondary handle. And a magazine. Or is that a clip? Somebody told me the difference between a magazine and a clip, and I honestly can't remember it. I apologize. But since he's supposed to be more of like a SWAT team G.I. Joe character, that does seem like the proper rifle for him to have. We also have this beauty. It does have an extended clip on it, although that does not pull out. However, the suppressor does come off of it. It's one of the weird things with the suppressors is because, like, the way they design them in G.I. Joe, it makes the barrel look too small. And then we have a rifle with, I believe that, if I remember correctly, somebody told me that this is called a nutsack. This might be the original rifle that came with him. None of these items look like it would fit on this little clip thing on the bottom here. So again, I'm not sure what that's supposed to be for. But we can fit that right on his back. And now he kind of reminds me more of Soundwave with a couple of speakers on his back. Anyway, let's go ahead and go over the articulation of this figure. Take the backpack up. Ooh, wait. There's another hole here, too. I just saw. So, does any of his equipment here have... None of his other equipment here has something that would plug into that hole either. I need to open up the other figure. I do have it. I just never got around to opening it. Move the hat. Oh, before we go too much further, we do have a helmet for him too. It's the Steel Brigade helmet. Just goes right over his head, and it stays on better than the hat does. Most of the G.I. Joe figures now are coming with this helmet as an extra. Although I don't think I've seen any of the female figures with it yet. Have they actually released any female figures since on the G.I. Joe side since they started putting those helmets with all the characters? I don't know. Generally, one of my thoughts with that though is, aside from in this case, it's obviously the helmet for when you ride the motorcycle, that this is also kind of their version of troop building that GI Joe has given us. In that, if we've got the faceless helmet and we want to buy multiple characters, then we've got an army builder that way with the helmet. I think having it just be a full-fledged head probably would have been better, but that's just me. Anyway, he's got the G.I. Joe chicken neck, though it doesn't move very well at all. You can spin his head all around. There is no hinge in his neck, so it is just the barbell ball joint and a little bit of articulation at the bottom of the neck. We have butterfly joints, decent range of motion, not the best, not the worst. Technically, the worst was on the one figure I did just last week. Arm hinges up and down. This joint is extremely tight on this figure itself, the one that I have. We have a bicep cut. We can spin the arm all around on the peg that's inside the joint. We have the standard double jointed elbow. And there is the logo that was on the back of the pack. Anyway, it does feel like he does have the ab crunch, but his vest interferes with it quite a bit, so you only get a little bit. We have the ball joint at the waist that allows us to spin around and mimics the O-ring ability. Drop down hips. You know what? I'm just wondering, do they do the drop down hips on any of the other figure lines they have, like the Marvel ones or the Star Wars ones? He can kick forward that far, and he can kick back that far, and he can kick out, and near perfect splits. We have a thigh cut. Of course, that's really awkward with the thigh holster. Double jointed knee. Spin at the boot. Hinge at the boot. This one is also very tight, at least on that side. Not quite as tight on this side, so we get that full range. And a pin to spin with. Set Jason aside. Pull out our motorcycle. Just a repaint of the Ram cycle using the modern version of the Night Force coloring, which is sad because this would have looked really spectacular with the Dayglow orange on the rims, that, and here. Maybe over here. And definitely the gun barrel would have been that Dayglow orange, I'm sure. We kind of get a modified version of that logo on the patch here. The Night Force logo, G.I. Joe. Covert Special Task Force. You know what? I should have made that wheel black. Like with the previous versions of the Ram Cycle release. Well, the handles shift around so you can position them easier with your figure. The digital reads on here do not look quite as good as they did on the back of the package. You probably can't even really see them. They're not as bright red either as they shown in the package. And then we still have like the regular readouts here that you would use for a normal motorcycle. Comparison wise to the Tiger First version that we reviewed earlier this year, I mean, there's not much difference between them other than aside from the obvious color scheme. And as we noticed, the lack of a pin in the wheel. Also, just to note where they've cheaped out again here. So on the Tiger Force one, you notice that the pins that you can see here are all painted black. They did not do that with the Night Force one. So they skipped to the pin on the sidecar And they decided not to paint the pins on the side. Also, I guess technically, when you get right down to it, they cheaped out on the color scheme too, you know? I mean, it is Night Force, so you can kind of get away with not having quite as many colors because you mostly need the dark gray, like the charcoal gray and the black. Although, if you've ever done covert stuff at night, you know that black is actually not the best color to wear because surprisingly, you do stand out a lot in darkness wearing black. You are better off with like a charcoal gray or even a dark green or a dark brown because then you kind of blend with the shadows a little bit better. But if you see a shadow and you see a dark spot in the shadow, that's somebody wearing black. Just saying. And no, I probably shouldn't tell you why I know that. That would also be classified. Just a brief comparison, though, to the original RAM cycle that was released. I know this one is not 100% complete. It's got all the main stuff you need. The kickstand, however, is broken. And nothing stays in place. I think I actually got this for $5 in one of those garbage bins at a toy show many years ago. Because again, I like the RAM cycle. It's one of my favorite designs. But I don't think it had the handles originally either. And the G.I. Joe update is definitely nicer. And I want to say that the figure's hands just kind of like went in the side there to try to look like they're leaning over. Sticker to look like it had a window on it. Obviously, the gun barrel doesn't spin like it does here, and it doesn't pop out of it like that to hold. That is one update that I do like, is being able to pull that out to use it as a, handheld weapon. Though you're gonna have to be pretty strong to do that for real. I did just wish that they had gone ahead and managed to find a way to redesign this to keep the barrel there with it as well. I don't think that would have been too hard to ask. Heck, you have this little thing here. You could have designed a little peg thing there so that the barrel could have fit right there too if you wanted to. They actually did put the digital camouflage on his knees also. Another reason why that wheel really needs to be pinned in place. This to me is problematic because this is a choking hazard right here for a kid. And I don't know, maybe I just got unlucky, but technically this is the second one of these that I've opened because I ordered 2. Actually, I ordered 3 originally because I was trying to show that somebody else that they were still available at the time. And the two of them that I've opened have had that peg problem. This is also the first of the motorcycles where I ended up buying multiples of it at full price. Otherwise, like, I got a second Tiger Force motorcycle originally just by buying it separate on eBay for like $25 with free shipping. And of course, I got another Tiger Force motorcycle and Duke set at the toy show for $20. I couldn't pass that up because it was another motorcycle. The Ram cycle in green, I got a second one again on eBay. I think I paid $30 for it, for just the motorcycle. So this is the first one where I've gotten multiple versions of the motorcycle and the figure both for full price. And I kind of hate myself for doing that at the time too, I'm not going to lie. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review. Please feel free to leave some comments. Again, I did ask some questions earlier about the one knife, if anybody knows what exactly it's supposed to be used for. Or, heck, if you see it for sale somewhere, that'd be cool too. And let me know where online to find it. I'm probably not going to buy it, mind you, but I definitely would like to look at it. And if you enjoyed the content today, please feel free to subscribe. I'm kind of hoping to hit 500 by the end of the year. Should probably double check where I'm at now, but I think I'm still somewhere around the 350 to 360 mark. Peace and love. So while doing some of the photos for this figure afterwards, the kickstand on the rifle, which I didn't really talk about previously, the one leg started popping off and just keeps popping off. It doesn't want to stay in place. It looks like there's an issue with the hole. So I don't know if this is a problem overall or just, again, with this one item. But it seems like I won't be able to, do the nice poses with the kickstand in place for like sniper work.